Hello and welcome to another episode of the Gritty Hour. I have a very special guest today. I have Sean Hansen, who's an HVAC specialist out of Westchester County, and he's also an inventor. And we're going to talk about both of those things. His inventions are geared around HVAC or HVAC type stuff. So, welcome to the Gritty Hour, Sean. Pleasure to have you.
Absolutely, Tom. Great to be here.
Oh, yeah. So I know we met in the store. As people who follow the podcast know, I run an antique store here in Millbrook. And I know you're into HVAC, and it just so happens, I might have to turn to you, but it just so happens that I got my central air serviced 2 days ago, and I got a little sticker shock with the price of, what is it, R-22 Freon?
R-22 Freon, yeah.
Yeah, which is an old system, I guess.
Very.
Why is it so expensive?
They're not making it anymore. It's harmful to the environment, and the way that they stop it is they just raise the price, decrease the actual making of it, and that's basically it, really. I mean, it's just very expensive if you can get it.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to relay that to the client. Most of the cases, they want us to tell the customer to upgrade to the new refrigerant, ozone friendly. So.
And does that cost money to upgrade?
Oh yeah, you have to change your unit outside. In most cases, you'll have to upgrade the unit inside, and also the ductwork. It's just a very very major deal.
Am I in the minority or the majority in terms of the people that have the R-22?
Majority.
Oh yeah,
You are.
it doesn't make me feel better, but
Yeah.
So we're all paying through the teeth then.
Oh yeah. I see it every day. It's hard.
Yeah.
Some people just can't. And
Yeah.
you know what? Sometimes you got to put aside your the money thing and just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Take care of your customer who you've been with forever. So.
Yeah. Well, how long you been doing this work?
I've been doing this about 38 years. We're 4 generations in this industry. So my son will be taking over this year.
Wow.
I'm an author as well. So
Oh.
I have a couple of books coming out soon. So.
Oh, very interesting. We'll talk about that if you don't mind. But
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, what's your service area where you're located?
We're pretty much Westchester County, Dutchess, Putnam. If I have customers that really need me to run to the city for them or check something out, I mean, I will, to be honest with you. But our mainstay is Westchester, Dutchess, Putnam.
Mm-hmm. Is that where your office is located?
We're in Westchester, yes.
Yeah. Do you have a phone number for that? Did you? Public
Yeah, we
one?
do. 914-787-9772.
Okay. And if they had just do a little background on your, do you have a website that they can go to?
The HansensHVAC.com.
Okay. And both of those will be in the show notes for anybody that wants to. In fact, a link to his website will be on the show notes. So just look below as you're listening or watching, wherever you are consuming this podcast. So, but I'm also interested because we conversed while you were in the store, and I know you're an inventor of sorts. I know you have a lot of ideas, and there's one specific one. Without giving out too much detail, maybe tell the folks what it's all about.
I'm basically, we're constantly hearing about taking care of indoor air quality for humans. The environment is everything, and I'm paying a little more attention, if you will, to the actual pets in our life, our best friends. So that's kind of where I'm going, and I'm kind of putting my concentration on. I'll have something coming out soon that'll kind of address that issue.
So it'll be like a filtration system for the air that dogs and cats breathe, or?
Yes, very, very close to that. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you explained to me about it, but they're low to the ground, and that's not a major consideration for someone looking for that has central air or just a regular air conditioner.
Right. I mean, it's good. I want to be a little more attentive to our friends, the pets. And 3 feet off the ground, most of your off-gassing takes place. So I like to kind of fix that as much as I can in the home.
So you're working on like, again, without giving out too much, you're working on the schematics to it, or?
Yes. We have a couple of protos in the works.
Very nice.
So we'll see what happens.
Well, this is a new revelation to me. You're an author. You're writing some books as well.
Yes. Yeah,
Something tells me you're gonna have a very productive retirement there, Sean.
I hope so. It's coming close, though, huh?
What would the books be about if without giving out too much?
Yeah. The first book I wrote maybe 8 years ago, sold out. I think we can get it if we need to. It's the mindset of a service company owner. And this is from me looking at generations of my life carrying my father's tools and going through this industry and really seeing the things as a little guy, the innocent one. And as I get older, I kind of have those deja vu moments at my age today from then, and I learn
Hmm.
from those. So that book and the future books are reflecting those moments in my life and how they've kind of adjusted me with the industry and the changes. And
So
it's been pretty
it'll be centered around the HVAC industry, but you'll also incorporate what you learned from your father, even your
right.
grandfather. Would
Life
you say?
lessons.
What did you say? Your third generation business?
I'm the third. My son will be the fourth.
Wow, very
Yeah,
good. Yeah. So that means you know what you're doing. I would say
I
38
do.
years. 38 years, you probably picked up a couple of things.
I made a few mistakes along the way.
Well, that's how you learn. You know.
Absolutely.
I should be Einstein by the mistakes I made, but
Yeah.
yeah. So that's good. It's an interesting.
Yeah.
I guess talking about what you do after your main career is done. I'm getting close to those ages myself,
Yeah.
and actually you look younger than I do. But I'm 26 years old. I got to start thinking about this.
Yeah, you do. Listen, what are you gonna do? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Hmm. But you have some good ideas for what to do post
I
retirement.
just
Yeah.
love the business. I love I truly love the industry. I grew up around it. I mean, and what I'm seeing, the changes are very scary. To be honest with you, there's very very little talent available out there. A lot of people think they have the answers to why, but the truth is, honestly, Tom, these young guys are afraid, and the
Hmm.
older guys they don't want to learn the new technology. It's all decent, binary, very depth stuff.
Right.
Amazing, amazing. But this is where we're at right now, paradigm in our industry where the young guys are trying to grasp and learn this, and then the older guys are trying to phase out because they really don't want to learn it. They can't, some of them,
Hmm.
and that's where we are right now. And that's kind of what I'm dealing with every day, and that's kind of what my books are going to reflect. All of these things,
Hmm.
so that somebody in the business can kind of read those things and maybe get a little knowledge.
Yeah. Well, getting back for a second to that R-22,
Yes,
I guess the common word is Freon, right?
yes.
So that's a government mandate that you have to stop using it, or they're just making it so.
They stopped making it. There's no
Mhm.
longer. What's available is being created and made by others, but they wanted to. They want us to phase you out. They want to phase out all R-22 equipment
Mhm.
and jump up to the new R-410A, which is good actually on its way now to be phased out as well.
Mm.
So it's a very challenging. Again, these changes are a lot because when they change these specifications, you have to buy new tools. You have to buy just incredible new stuff to work on this stuff, and that's also the cost increases are very high.
Mm.
So these are things that affect the business. So R-22, everyone loves it because it was very simplistic. There wasn't very much that you needed to know other than knowing your pressures and your gauges. And then as you come up with the new stuff like 410A, it's a blend of three chemicals. You need to know quite a bit more about these units and the chemicals and the blend that's in the system. So that takes a lot of learning and a lot of you don't get your toolbox and go on the road in a week with this stuff. So
Wow.
yes,
Uh,
so our
you had mentioned that most of your clients are still using R-22 systems that
a lot of
accept
them.
R-22.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
is there any kind of thing where you have your ear to the ground about any kind of maybe government program that would, how you get like a tax abatement if you put in solar
Yeah,
panels or stuff?
there's a lot of nice certain things. There's a lot of things that depending on your utility company. I mean, there's quite a few things that they're offering out there, and they're great programs. Anything that can get you to move your footprint away from where it's at, it's a plus. And the new equipment, it's amazing. It's quieter. It's amazing. It's truly an amazing piece of equipment. These units,
More energy efficient also.
absolutely.
Hmm.
Give you a good example, just really quick. AC is like you plug into the wall, so it's constantly when you run something, you leave the hair dryer or something on, you're constantly running, causing yourself cost. With the new systems, they're basically converting AC to DC, like batteries. Everything runs DC, much lower currents, much lower voltages, and it's amazing because they're quieter, they're
Hmm.
cooler, they're amazing pieces of equipment, but they are very costly, and they are very costly to maintain.
Hmm.
So that's
But
one of the down.
yeah, well, the fella that does my system, he didn't mention anything about any kind of subsidy to convert. I'm assuming converting from a system that takes the R-22 to the new system is prohibitive cost wise.
Absolutely. There's rebates, there's incentives, manufacturers are offering. You just have to find out what, the most important thing is have somebody come out, you do a load calculation, we find out exactly what you need, look at what you have, and how then we can implicate or implement the new stuff into what you have. The whole idea is that we need to support the science, not just the marketing.
Hmm.
That's what we concentrate on is the science this year has to be supported by what we do.
Well, the new system sounds like it's more environmentally friendly, so I think there would be
Much,
demand for it. Just
very much so,
Hmm.
but they are costly. And that's kind of, what where the catch is. You have to kind of explain the benefits of being with versus without
Mm.
and the costs that are incurred over time. And every time I come into your house or somebody stops by, there's a cost. So if you add that up versus the new stuff, it really is very reliable.
Do you think it pays for itself in the long run and what you're saving?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
So
Within
it takes less. It takes less electricity.
much less,
Yeah.
much less of a footprint.
The reason why I'm asking you that is because a few years ago they had the electric company was subsidizing converting the lighting in a store like mine from those old
Fluorescent,
fluorescent bulbs to
yeah,
the
the
LED
ballasts. Hmm.
systems.
Yep.
And the way they sold it, which made sense to me, was that it eventually the money you're saving in electricity bills will offset the outlay that you're putting out to have everything
Over
converted.
time.
Yeah.
Yep. Over
So
time.
would this be a similar type situation?
Yeah. I mean, everything is designed to make things easier. So sure. Um, Look, there's a lot of things that they're changing that I'm kind of having problems with the industry. Kind of give you an example. Efficiency and indoor air quality are not the same thing. And a lot of times people are trying to address efficiency and they're actually causing more chemistry in the house or causing more issues. For example, ductless units, they're fantastic. They're amazing units, but they are chemistry creating. They're filthy. So they must be maintained and cleaned on a regular basis.
Hmm.
So one aspect, you're costing yourself less to run and cool, but in the other aspect, as far as the quality of your air, you are creating chemicals. You're just chemistry is very reactive on those systems.
Hmm.
So you got to know that balance.
Hmm. Does the government or the electric company and or the manufacturer do they give you some incentive to help convert these clients of yours?
I mean, I guess they have programs, but for me, the most important incentive is knowing that I can put something in that I don't have to get out of bed at 3 in the morning. You fix.
Hmm.
I'm not going to risk my whole. I just want to take care of my customers, and unfortunately, the way things are today, a lot of companies are shifting from what they used to use to using what's available. I won't do it. I'm going to just stick by with what I can and keep going what you have until I can get what I need to give you. But it's really charted waters.
Mm. So this is a major turn in your specific industry.
It's scary. Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
people are retired. Yeah,
When
yeah.
did that start taking effect? I guess I've been ignorant about the whole thing.
I mean, these changes have been going for the last 4 years steady.
Hmm.
This past year, I mean, it's getting harder and harder. I mean, they're really cost of the Freon is going up every day.
Mm. Well, let me ask
And
you
I mean,
what I seem to be asking a lot of people that have their own business. How did COVID affect your business?
slowed us down.
Mm.
And I'm in the indoor air quality business, so I'm the guy who's touching the filters and the ductwork where everything you aspirate is in that system. So we're kind of really in it, whereas some people pass by, our hands are in it. So it affected us a lot. We've had to take a lot of measures
Mm.
um, and really get into the chemistry aspect of the microbes and so the chemicals being used, and we don't want to create more chemistry. So again, my whole thing in this business for me is the quality of the life and the air that you breathe in your environment.
Hmm.
Anyone could just put the unit in, anyone could just do that, but I want to make sure that, again, what I'm doing is supporting the future science, and that's key.
Mm-hmm.
And then your costs will come down. They have to.
Mm-hmm.
I
So,
mean,
are your clients, the feedback you get, are they like willing to do it, but the cost of the conversion is what's prohibiting them, or?
in some cases, but that's where, again, we contact your local, utility. There's a lot of programs that are there to help these customers. I'm not an expert on all of them. There's so many of them, Tom. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of the guy who just will spend more time with the customer and get into the science of what's going on and what I could really do as far as getting their system to be more effective, a little more, you know, efficient. But the house is Swiss cheese. If you look at, there's so many things.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to try and come into your house without, the marketing today is unreal with the UV lights, and it's it, it, it's just not for you. It won't do what it needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's creating chemistry. It's not, and that's a whole nother subject we'll go into. But
Mm-hmm.
the most important part of filtration is just
Mm-hmm.
filtration. And as far as the R-22 is, if you have it serviced every year, you should never have to add Freon. Freon is like blood in the body. You don't need a transfusion. So every year, if somebody's coming out and pumping it in, I'd question that a little bit. But nevertheless, sometimes people need that, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And for me today, if there's a certain amount of a leak rate that you have, we're not allowed to put any Freon in it. We have to tell you to change it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, again, knowing your guy and your company is a big thing. But this is where they get the book out. They start calling every company every other year, and they just keep filling from a different company. It's funny.
Until there's no
Yeah,
supply left
yeah.
wherever. Yeah.
But they don't have to change. They just keep
Yeah.
calling something different. But
Yeah.
you look at all the money they've inherited or they've spent on the filling versus a year, they could have bought a new system. So
Okay. Yeah, without actually asking you, I was going to ask you if you can give me a ballpark on what a conversion like that would be, but it depends on the house or the store or the
right,
building.
you need a
Yeah.
load. It's kind of like asking a dentist, how much is it going to cost to pull my tooth? Which
Yeah, I'm
one?
going to ask him that next week, in fact.
Well, I'll miss it too. Tell me if you find mine, give me a rare. I'll trade you.
I'll say, I don't care if it's concrete, put something in there.
Yeah, yeah. Give
Yeah.
me a peg.
So what made you interested in the invention area of your business?
I just, again, I've been around this business my whole life, and you know how at times you just get bored, or you just get to the point where you're complacent and you
The
don't think
routine.
there's anything right.
Hmm.
And that's where I was a few years ago before all the changes started, and I started writing, and I just started writing and thinking about things to do to simplify my business and my safety. And
Hmm.
there's quite a few things I've done and created. I haven't really done much with them yet, but um, I know they're going to make a difference. I'm like, I'm taking 15 minutes, a half an hour with you tonight. I got to go back on the road.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
this is my life. This is what I do.
Hmm.
You don't walk in the emergency room and the doctor says I'm busy. You call me, I got to go.
Hmm.
So, and that's
Yeah.
what most of you get home at 5, 6. So guess when I get the call? 7, 8 when you come home.
Well,
So
that's
we're
when they
always
get
on the
home and
road.
there's no AC on. They call you.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
you bet.
Do you
So
deal
the
with
day,
heating too, or in the
yep,
wintertime? Or, yeah.
yep,
So
we
you get
do. We
similar
do.
problems with that, right?
Yep, yeah.
Any changes
Yep.
on that horizon with the
Uh,
obviously the prohibitive cost? The oil has gone through the roof.
Yeah, there's a lot of changes. Again, a lot of technology is going to heat source or air source or water source systems, which are mainly, like, if you're in Florida, they love them. They have just such a use there. For here, it's just there's just so much to go over. Well, I
Mm.
mean,
Yeah, well, yeah, we
uh,
get a
I mean,
slightly cooler up here than is in Florida too. So
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But you got the
But
hot water and everything. They use heaters down there.
yeah, they use heat pumps. They use
Yeah.
strip heaters.
Hmm.
And here we have the hydronic systems. So a lot of the changes in this industry are the condensing systems. So the old standard boiler, you get home, you're 9 o'clock, you're freezing, you turn the thermostat up, and within 15 minutes that boiler hits 180 degrees, you're cooking. Well, you can't have, and I'm not a fan of. Anyway, you can't just take a boiler out and stick a wall hung unit on the wall, a condensing boiler, and repipe it into the existing and walk away and just use it like you did the other unit. It's completely different. Their ideology is the same, but the technology is 100% different.
Right, right.
The condensing boilers, for example, they run at lower temperatures for longer periods of time. So you don't have setbacks on your thermostats. We have an outside sensor that works based on temperature. And that tells the system how to ramp up or down to a temperature that's comfortable throughout the entire environment. But again, these things, again, are scientific. You can't just throw them in.
Right.
And again,
Right.
and that's kind of, as you can tell, I'm very much into depth with this stuff, Tom. I just,
Mm-hmm.
what I see and what I have to fix. And I don't bash anybody. It's, listen, most of the time they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I think when HVAC guys start doing plumbing, I'll see it. We can plunge in toilets. We'll see if they get mad at us.
No, I'm one of the ones that don't really know much about it.
Yeah.
I did get the sticker shock with the R-22, which
Oh, yeah.
he didn't
Yeah.
have to put hardly anything in there, but still, he was telling me the prices of them. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if it 2/3 the cost of the unit, I mean, I would just replace it. But a lot of people don't want to go through the filing. They have to home associations. They have to get approval from. So it becomes very, very, very uncomfortable for people, I guess. And so I only do one thing, man. Whatever the code requires, and that's the way we do it. So
Yeah, well, that's been sort of what's been bugging me during this whole conversation. You would think the government, any kind of local municipality or the state government, would make the road much smoother for someone that did want to convert, whether it be offering
they do.
subsidies or green lighting the red tape as you were just describing.
Yeah,
You know,
they have
but that
many
doesn't.
programs. You know,
Okay, so it is in place. So, but
oh yeah,
you do have to get a permit to get a conversion done.
oh yeah, absolutely. Don't
Mm,
do anything without a permit, Tom.
mm-hmm.
You just you need to know that it's being approved, so that way you can sleep at night, and the contractor can sleep at night, and everyone's happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's the big deal?
Mm-hmm.
Just so we file everything too, and they need to know that it's being done, and there's another portion of your rebates and all of the information they're going to need to acquire with respect to giving you those rebates, and they need to see the equipment. There's just, it has to be, installed according to their specifications.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, usually when you do a conversion like that, that is, you're switching to a more environmentally friendly system. There's some sort of, I don't want to keep using the word subsidy, but some sort of tax credit or something made
There
available to
are.
the person that's doing the conversion. You know.
Yes. Again, most of my concentration is just trying to keep going what's going right now. After COVID and with what I'm dealing with my customers, I always try and let them, do what I can to keep them going.
Mm-hmm.
The supplies are a little bit limited, so I'm not in
Mm-hmm.
a hurry to replace anything. But
Mm-hmm.
they need to know, and I let them know there is that option that you want to upgrade, you can,
Mm-hmm.
but it is costly. But there are many. I mean, if you contact Con Ed or NICE, they have programs. NYSERDA has programs. I really should have more information for that. Yeah, I better be more prepared for the next time, Tom. But
Mm-hmm.
there's quite a few incentives that are really out there to help the consumer.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're willing to go through the battle with them, you'll get it done.
Is the
And you'll
bulk
be
of your
very,
service area down in the Con Ed zone, or?
yeah, we're mainly Con Edison, and
Mm-hmm.
that's you go into like Putnam, and that's nice. But
And Central Hudson up in Dutchess?
some, yes,
Mm-hmm.
yep.
So you're three guys you're dealing with, three companies you're dealing with there.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Three utilities, yeah.
most of our repairs are repairs, not replacements.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I'm trying to, I'm not going to create new issues. If you can't change the system and do the ductwork and sizes for static, it's just there's no use in putting a new unit in. You know what I mean? Unless you don't have a functioning unit,
Hmm.
and that's kind of what I look at. I really try and maintain what I can, unless it's really unsafe and something they have to upgrade. Then that's a different story.
Hmm. So you think most of your customers that have the old system are just, I'll run this to death, and when it dies, I'll convert to the new thing?
Basically,
Yeah.
or unless they have a windfall at the lottery. But
That's what I was
I
saying.
mean,
The way you're talking, it sounds very cost prohibitive. That's why
no, I mean,
I'm asking you
the
all these
incentives.
questions.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
and then the incentives are there to help you, and they really it really is helpful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm going to houses when I was a kid with my father that were cold conversion systems converted. I mean, these customers are very set in their ways, but these houses are Tudors.
Mm-hmm.
They're all plaster. The door, I mean, you have to cut these systems apart to get them out.
Mm.
So there's really a lot involved.
Yeah.
With
Well, we have a
management.
mutual friend that I think you've met that when you get down to the nitty gritty, thank you, for for the system for the pets. I think he might be
Yes.
able to help you out.
Yeah.
I won't
Yeah.
mention his name here, but
Yeah. He's
yeah.
a piece of work.
But I
I
think
love
you
him.
met him. He's a
He's
very
right.
nice fellow. Yeah,
Very knowledgeable.
I've known him for 100 years. So now the books. How far down the road are we looking forward to those?
I have one. I have two that I'm pushing out. I'm planning on having them out by October, but it
Oh.
depends on what they strike and
Mm-hmm.
and try and fluff it up or whatever. But the main meat of the matter for me will be in the books, and that's the thing.
Do you have a working title, or you don't want to divulge that just yet?
Not yet, not
Mm-hmm.
yet. I have a few. I
Okay.
have a few. It
Yeah.
depends on what day I have.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like a unique take, though. Because it sounds like it's combining your industry,
Right.
and also a family
Yeah,
business.
his life, his
Yeah.
story,
Mm-hmm.
right? His, instead of like, I mean, everyone's watching him on YouTube, which I'm not. Listen, we used to do. I used to have a TV radio show in Boca Raton, Florida, and it was really big then. But then everyone started doing the YouTube thing, and I
Mm-hmm.
and I can't do it anymore. In some cases, we record for educational reasons, and the customer has to approve of it. But today,
Mm-hmm.
you got these guys on YouTube. They come to your door. Now they think they're celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
It's really ridiculous, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just, again, I'm seeing a lot of changes in this industry that are really starting to irk me a little bit. But you know, it's hard to find them.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to find really, really dedicated, heartfelt, just hardworking people.
So you think the trade is not being passed down properly to the younger
No
generations?
way.
Yeah.
Nah, there's a shortage of technicians again, and this technology is scaring the hell out of them. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's changing fast, and you have to have all new tools. I mean, the gauges and I mean, my whole company, we just converted to laptops and iPads in the vehicles. I mean, everything's done through computer. It's amazing, but it's costly.
Mm-hmm.
So
Costly for the
these
business,
people
the person who owns the
and the
business.
technician,
Yeah.
he has to buy his own tools.
Mm.
And the day of a wrench and a hammer just doesn't cut it. Now you have to have precision tools that really test, your pressures, like your blood pressure in your body. These tools that will test the pressure in the system. It'll test the actual amperage or the actual heartbeats of the unit. I mean, just so much we do.
And the quality
And you
of the
can't do
air, I
that.
guess, would be a primary.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That is my primary thing, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is what we call metrology. My job is to basically prove the statistics either right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So I do a lot of sampling and things, but
Mm-hmm.
it'll get big eventually, I'm sure. But again, I have to prove that the science is there.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to hold you up because I know people are sweating to death out there, and I wanted to
Yeah.
get you on mainly because of the sticker shock I had the other day, and also to learn a little bit about what you're gonna have post retirement. You're gonna keep your hand in it when you give it to your son, Garrett.
Yes, I can never leave it. I mean, I'll
Mm-hmm.
write. I'm hopeful that I can just write and just keep writing. I mean, I have 50, 38 years of 56. So yeah, I think I got some information again from my pop, and
Mm-hmm.
tell you
Mm-hmm.
stories about things that I saw that are amazing. So,
And your son's
um,
been working with you for a while, so he
oh
knows.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If you see go to the website, you'll see when he was 6 years old, seven. Our
Yeah.
buildings in Manhattan with me, just
I
holding
was
my tools.
I was just gonna ask you to say the website one more time.
It's www.hansens, HANSENS, HVAC.com. And the company has new branding. It's now HVAC Indoor Technologies. You'll see that when you get to the site. And that's my son's influence of taking over and starting to implement him, and he wanted a new look. So
Good. And that phone number one more time for the folks.
914-787-9772.
And that would be like, where are you physically located? What town, if you don't mind?
We're basically purchased is our mailing address. But I have mobile trucks. I mean, my office is my truck basically at this point.
Okay, so you can
Most
go
of the
you
time.
can you can go anywhere on short notice if somebody's
We're
sweating to
always out.
death.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm always out.
Mm-hmm.
You bet. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I do. That's my job.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I appreciate the time, and if you don't mind,
absolutely.
come the fall when that first book is ready to rock, I'd like to have you back on, and we'll
Yes.
we'll do a little discussion about that book.
we'll go over a lot of things. I'm gonna come up this week and have breakfast.
Oh yeah, well you do like coming to Millbrook, I know. You
Yeah,
should keep Millbrook. You should move to Millbrook.
I wish I could, man.
This way, when I'm sweating, you'll be here in 5 minutes. You know.
Well, Freon's killing me. I got to take my time.
I know the story. I know.
Yeah.
Well, Sean, thank you so much for your time tonight. I know you're going back to work, so I appreciate you stopping by and giving us some insight on that. And we'll be looking forward to the pet thing, and we'll be looking forward to the books.
Absolutely, Tom. I'm
All
not
right.
this weekend. Thank
All
you.
right. Have a great night, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks
Okay.
for having me. Bye-bye.